So the first thing is really easy. It's equation and expression, okay? You guys have been doing this for a long time. Equations have an equal sign. So if I say 5x plus 10 equals 20, I can solve that. That has a solution, okay? It doesn't always have to be an equal sign. It could be x plus 5 is greater than or equal to 8. Okay. That has many solutions, right? Inequalities don't have one solution, they have many, right? So if it's an equal sign or greater than or equal to sign or less than or equal to sign, those are all equations. Expressions have no equal signs, okay? So if I just said 5x plus 10, you can't solve that. There's no solutions to it. You can't do anything with it. It's just 5x plus 10. That's it. All right? Now we are going to, the only things that we can solve are equations. When we solve equations, we go backwards from our PEMDAS. Remember, PEMDAS was parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. We go backwards. We always add or subtract first when we're solving equations. And then we multiply or divide at the end. You have to know, just like a scale, whatever you do to one side, you do to the other, right? This is all review from 9th grade. Does everyone know Miss Enright? Okay. So, does anyone had her as a teacher? Well, she must have a lot of dogs. She loves dogs, I think. So she came up with this saying on how to solve equations. It was DCV. Does anybody know what that stands for? What her little thing was? Dogs crap violently. Okay? But it means distribute, combine like terms, get your variables on one side. But when I subbed for her one summer, if I said dogs crap violently on this one, you got to do it. The kids all knew what to do. Okay? So it really does help. So D, distribute, it's the C part, the combining like terms, that gets everybody, okay? You got to know that you have to combine things on one side before you start to move anything, all right? And this is another thing that you have to remember. If you have something that looks like this, x divided by 4, this bar means divide. Opposite of divide is multiply by 4, okay? And this DCV all talks about this steps 1, 2, and 3. It tells you distribute, combine your like terms. Here's your V for variable. So getting rid of the parentheses is another way of saying distribute. So distribute, combine, get your variable on one side. Okay? And this last step, plug your answer back into your original equation to check. Last year you did a lot of checking. We are not going to do checking this year because we just know that you know how to do it. We're not going to waste our time. We have so much to do that we just don't. On the Regents, every once in a while, though, you've got to be careful. It'll say solve and check, and then you must do that. You must check. You might see it on a quiz or a test, too. Our test might have one that says solve and check, okay? So if you don't know how to check or you need help with it, just say, you know, come and show me how to do one, check, all right? So on these, we are just going to do the solving. I'm going to make mine a little bit bigger so that, because I write pretty big. So this one. Now, last year, I know a lot of you like to put this little wall down where the equal sign is. We will do that, but then eventually we'll stop doing it. But if you need, a lot of you do need that to keep yourselves on one side or the other. All right, I like to call, anytime I see fractions that look like money, money fractions are 1/2, 1/4, and 3/4. You should all know half of a dollar is the same thing as 50 cents. So I usually change my fractions that look like money to decimals. You do not have to. Okay? So if I use my DCV, there's no distributing in this one. Then I look on each side. Is there anything alike to combine? There is not. There's nothing to combine. So now I'm going to get the variable by itself. I always like to move the smaller letter first. What is smaller, 0.5 or -2? Everyone picks 0.5. It is -2. -2 is smaller. And the opposite of -2 is, the opposite of subtraction is add 2r to both sides. So you all should be able to do this in your head. You got 50 cents plus $2. That's $2.50. R plus 6 equals 3. My variable is still not by itself. When I tutor kids, sometimes I'll tell them, when I work with kids like one-on-one, I always say, box in your variable so that you know I got to get that by itself. And whatever else is left is what I've got to move. So what's left on the outside of this box is plus 6. The opposite of plus 6 is minus 6. So I got 2.50 R equals -3. Again, we did an addition, we did a subtraction. Now we got to get rid of this 2.50 in front of the R. Remember, this is an imaginary multiply. The opposite of multiply is divide. We're going to divide both sides by $2.50. So I want you all to do that in your calculator on your own. -3 divided by 2.50. Tell me the answer. What is it, hon? -1.5. Okay. Everybody with me? Understand what I did? Okay. All right. Now this next one is more like what you're going to see this year, where there are going to be lots of stuff on both sides. Oh, what was it? Oh, sorry. So what's -1? That's okay. Oh, that's okay. Good. -1.2 is the answer. All right. So on this side, we're going to put our line down. We definitely need that little wall here for this one because there's a lot of stuff here. So we're going to write our DCV up here. Dogs crap violently. All right. There's nothing to distribute. Nothing. There's nothing to distribute. But now we're on the combine part. There are things to combine. Now, a lot of teachers do it differently. When I want to combine something, I do this. I put little squiggly lines under what I'm going to combine. So I can combine the x's there. What's 10x minus 8x? 2x. Bring down your -3. Bring down your equal sign. On this side, I have the variable -x and the variable -3x to combine. So that's a -1 minus 3. Anybody do that in their head? -1 minus 3 is a -4x. Now I have this +11 and the +10. 11 plus 10 is 21. So I did my C, I did my combining like term, so that's done. Now I got to get the variable on one side. So what's the smaller letter? I've got 2 and -4, so -4 is smaller. So I'm going to add 4x to both sides. (2x plus 4x is 6x. -3 equals 21. You could put the +21 if you want. You could bring down that plus sign. Then hopefully at this point this looks easier to you. Add 3 to both sides. I get 6x equals 24. Divide both sides by 6. X equals 4. Now, if you're looking at this problem and you're telling me that is difficult, I struggle with combining like terms, which is where most kids do struggle on this problem, then you should come after school so we can do more of those longer problems. We'll do some of these on iExcel today too. All right, next page. All right, now fractions. This is why this one button on your calculator is a reason why you should buy one of these calculators if you can, okay? Because it's that fraction button.
All 11th grade students are to be dismissed to the auditorium. At this time, all 11th grade students are to be dismissed to the auditorium. Thank you.
So 7/3 times x is 7/3 x. Now you have to multiply 7/3 times 9/28. Now you realize I didn't change this one to a decimal. You can't, because 7/3 is going to be a repeating decimal. So in your calculator, I want everyone to make sure you have your calculator. It's that alpha y equals button. Alpha y equals number 1. 7 on the top. 3 on the bottom. When you use this button, you always have to arrow out times, and I think it was 9/28. So alpha y equal again, number 1, 9 on the top, 28 on the bottom, arrow out, hit enter, and it gives you the answer 3/4. That's pretty amazing. Every child I have ever met in my teaching, now one of them has said, I love fractions. It's my favorite thing. I'm not sure why, but we don't spend a lot of time on fractions, it must be. They are very important. Your calculator now will do it all for you. The problem is, when the calculator does it all for you, sometimes you don't really know the steps. So if you are one of those kids that says, I really want to know it, come after school. We'll give you practice adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing them. Okay? But this calculator is amazing. It saves a lot of time. So now this is going to be plus 3/4 equals 20. Now, this is one of my money fractions here, 3/4. I could change that to 0.75 if I wanted to. Okay? I'm going to leave it 3/4 because I want to do some practice with you with fractions. Okay, so in our DCV, we did our distribute. That's done. There's nothing to combine. So I'm going to cross that one out. So now I want to get the variable, or my x, by itself. I'm now going to minus 3/4 from both sides. So some of you can do this in your head. Remember, how much money is 3/4 again? 75 cents. So who can do that for me in their head? $20 minus 75 cents gives me 19.25. Very good. So I could have 19.25 here, or I could have a fraction. If I had a fraction, it would be, we could do it I'm going to show you how to do it in the calculator, because I want to do a fraction here instead of a decimal. You could do either. I just want to practice this alpha y equal key. So 20 minus alpha y equals number 1, 3 on the top, 4 on the bottom, and I'm going to get 77/4. Again, you could have 19.25 there if you'd like. Bring down your 7/3 x. And now this is the most important part. You have to get rid of this 7/3. The opposite of 7/3 is to multiply by, very good. And what is 3/7 called? Begins with an R. Reciprocal. Good job. So now this, if I multiply this in the calculator, I'm going to get 1x. You do not need to write the 1, but we are going to practice doing this in the calculator. So if y'all don't have a calculator, go get one now. And I want it turned on so that we do this one together. Go ahead. Grab a calculator. And all of the rest of you that have a calculator, do alpha y equals. You can start it ahead of time. Alpha y equals 77/4 times alpha y equals 3/7. Okay. Everybody ready? I'm going to clear up my calculator just to give me some more room. Alpha y equals number 1, 77 on the top, 4 on the bottom. Always arrow out of this, times 3 over 7. So you got to do alpha y equals again, number 1, 3 on the top, arrow down, 7 on the bottom, arrow right out, hit enter. The answer is going to be 33 over 4. Now, you could have it as a decimal also. If I did 33 divided by 4, you'd get 8.25. So either answer is right, 33 over 4 or 8.25. They didn't tell us which way to put it. So those are the two answers on that one. All right, number 4. The Regents loves these fraction equal to a fraction problem. When a fraction is equal to a fraction, you do what to solve it? Anybody know? Go ahead. Cross multiply. So cross multiply, sometimes teachers draw it like this. Looks like a butterfly. I don't know if anybody's ever. The biggest thing when people cross multiply is they forget to write an equal sign down. They start multiplying and then there's the equal sign disappears for some reason. So on one side you're going to have 15 parentheses g minus 6. On the other side you're going to multiply 3 times, is that a negative in front of there? Negative 2g minus 2. Okay? So again, using my dogs crap violently, distribute, combine, get your variable. We're going to distribute first on both sides. So 15 times g is 15g. 15 times negative 6 is a negative 90. Equals 3 times 2 is a negative 6g. 3 times negative 2 is a negative 6. So I did my distribution. Now I'm looking for combining like terms. Is there anything to combine on either side? You only have 1g on each side, so there's nothing to combine. And one constant term on each side. So now, since there's no combining of like terms, we're going to work at getting our variable on one side. The smaller variable or the smaller letter is negative 6. The opposite of negative 6 is add 6 to both sides, add 6g. I get 21g minus 90 equals a negative 6. This cancels out. Then I add 90 to both sides. And I get 21g, the 90s cancel out, equals 84. My last step then would be to divide both sides by 21. And I'm going to get g equals 4. Now this was a review of last year. Believe it or not, you did all of these types of problems last year. Does everybody remember that? Yes. Okay. Again, if you struggle with this, please come after school tonight so we can help you. Okay? If this is something you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do first, we are going to practice it. We're going to practice it. We have a few problems down here that you are going to do on your own, and then we'll go over them, and then we'll do some more practice on the whiteboards in a minute. Okay, so for this one, again, put your DCV here, and I will say you have to do your distributing first. I'll tell you there is no combining like terms on this one. So distribute and then get your variable on one side. I want you to try that one and the prob 3 underneath it. And then if somebody wants to actually come up and do this one, or I can do it afterwards if nobody wants to write on the board. All right, so try number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we'll go over them in 1 minute. Okay. So, A equals 7 was the correct answer. Does anybody not get that? So, what John did was he multiplied 8 times A, he got 8A. 8 times negative 2, he got negative 16. 4 times A, 4A. 4 times 3 is 12. He minused his 4A from both sides. And he got 4A minus 16 equals 12. Then he added 16 to both sides. He got 4A equals 28. Divided both sides by 4, and his answer was A equals 7. Okay? All right. So on the bottom, who wants to tell me, if you can come up and write it, or you can just tell me, let me make this a little smaller. How about the first one? You want to write it on the board, Jordan? Or you just want to tell me? Okay, the first one, what is it? Expression. Aaron, you want to put one on the board? You just tell me. Okay. What's the next one? Equation, good. How about letter C, Lex? Equation. And the last one? Expression, good job. All right. You guys did an awesome job today. That's it for notes. Yay! No more notes. All right.